Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. It is a while that we are not talking. This is our 19 meeting with our 19 webinar. I'm Daniela Murgia from Vets for Ukraine 2022, one of the specialists that together with now nearly 30 have joined the forces and decided to organize this amazing initiative of webinars made by vets, for the vets, for veterinary students and for veterinary nurses. The aim of our webinars is to raise funds to help the British Red Cross. If you have the financial possibility to make a donation in exchange for these amazing free webinars held by specialists. Today, we have seen in the countdown at the beginning, we have seen that the guest and the speaker of today is Elisabetta Mancinelli. We will have her with us pretty soon. Elisabetta is a diplomate of the European College of Zoological Medicine, and her specialty are exotics. I was very excited to know that Elisabetta would have joined us talking about anesthesia in rabbits, which is a very important topic in an everyday general practice. Before giving the word to Elisabetta, we have organized. We have decided to show you a video because we don't want to talk about only about veterinary medicine tonight. We want also to talk about an important initiative, of an important, let's call it, attitude. So I'm talking about hospitality. Hospitality is nowadays a very important concept, and the video that I would like to show you is a video about, let me introduce it, is about a disaster that happened in 1986 when I was actually a child. The nuclear power plant in Chernobyl exploded, and there was a diffusion of radioactive substances in the atmosphere, affecting Ukraine, affecting Russia, and also part of Europe. And following these initiatives, you might, for those who remember these events, there were many children and also adults affected by cancer. So since then, in particular Italy, but I'm sure also many other European countries have organized like hospitalities for children. So until now, they have been like up to 500,000 children that were hosted in Italy for a month by families, just to give them the possibility to stay in an environment, a non-polluted and non-radioactive environment. So I would like to ask Paolo to launch the video, and then I will explain you why we have decided to show you this video. Paolo, please, let's go with the video. why we have showed you this video? Because right now, a colleague of us, a vet and also a manager, called David Giraldi, he with a group of his colleagues and in particular vets partners have organized a similar initiative of hospitality. So right now, in Italy, they are hosting veterinarian colleagues coming from Ukraine, so flying from out from UK, sorry, from Ukraine, and they have also organized an important fundraising for these people. So I don't want to spoil too much. So I think I would like to allow David to tell us of this very important, amazing, great initiative. So I would like to ask Paolo to introduce David Giraldi and Elisabetta Mancinelli. So we have here Elisabetta. Hi, Elisabetta. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Welcome, welcome. I'm so grateful for you joining us with an amazing talk on anesthesia in rabbits. And here we have David. David, you are on mute.
Yes, I am. Hello. Good evening, everybody. Hello, and hello, Elisabetta.
Hello, hi.
So before, Elisabetta, if you don't mind, I would like to ask David to introduce and to talk about this amazing initiative by vet partners. So as I was mentioning, David is a vet, so is a colleague of us, but is also the CEO of vet partners in Italy. And among the many titles that David has got is also a certified holder in practice management. So David, amazing initiative you are doing, you have organized. We have spoken over the weekend, and I've personally met two of the Ukrainian colleagues that are currently hosted in Italy and helped. Would you like to explain us and tell us about this initiative?
Yes. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this beautiful project that you are directing with Paolo. It's an honor and a pleasure for me to be here. For me, this is a very important moment because I believe that people should get together to organize initiatives like this. There's a lot you can do alone, but if you do it with other people with similar-minded, vision, intention, you can get much bigger results. So you mentioned that I've got a general practitioner certificate in practice management. Now that show me, that if you are able, if you build a skill in talking to people, organizing people, you can get great things done. And what we did was simply decide to do something about what we care. Sorry, I got a slight problem here. Okay, can you see me now? Yes. And we decided to try to get into an organization to be more effective in what we were doing. So I did a research at the beginning of the war, and I discovered that the Italian Association of Veterinary Surgeons got in touch with the Ukrainian Association of Veterinary Surgeons, USAVA, and this was advertised basically by you and the other organizations that were trying to do something. So I got in touch with a representative, and he explained me what was happening and the needs at the moment. My goal was to try to get in touch with some local organization in order to build a bridge, trying to help our colleagues, because that because we are similar, then that activates our best intentions to help. But the aim was trying to help the families in the most effective way. So instead of doing something, that positive, like donating, what we wanted to do was to give these people the possibility of having a shelter, of having the the possibility of just stop and regroup and regain some kind of peace before reorganizing themselves. So what we did was to offer our organization in order to give shelter to families. And at the beginning, we thought that we could invite over families, and I did the first bit. And now I am very lucky to say that personally, we have this group of 9 people represented, for example, by not just our colleagues, but also we have the grandmother, and you think about the people, but within the people, you have the kids, so who's looking after them and what's happening to them. And then you think, okay, so the vets can do something to help themselves, but what about the grandmothers? What about the elderly? What about the disabled? So the idea was to find a way to have our colleagues over, make sure we provided, the basic of hospitality, but also a job for the adults and for, particularly in this case, the vets, but also the schools for the children, the health help for them. Some of them got problems related to things that are typical in Ukraine. We got a couple of people that are positive to tuberculosis, for example. They need assistance. And the grandmother, the grandmother needs an orthopedist. So that is the idea of giving an integrated help in order for them to restart a life in another country, are waiting for their country to finally restart again. So that was the general idea. Please.
Yes, I think, as I mentioned, this is a great initiative, and I'm really, so I think it's very well done. I don't know many persons that have that are managing to organize something like that. I have a practical questions, because these colleagues coming from Ukraine do here in the UK, they need to convert their veterinary diploma, so they need to be authorized to work in the UK, and I'm sure this is also in Italy. So how is the procedure? What do they need to do to be able to work as
Yes.
veterinarians in Italy?
Yeah. So one thing is the willingness to help. The other is to organize the help. Now, in this particular case, there are regulations. There's a council directive in Europe. So there are laws that states that because of the general situation, because of the war, these friends of us have rights. And the right is to have their qualification recognized in Europe. Now, obviously, one thing is the European regulation, the other thing is the local regulation. So if people are listening to us from different countries, it's all possible. It's nothing too complicated. It's just a process to set. It's very important that you set the process right in the right country. But all this is published, and if Paolo, please, can show the first slide and then the second, I've got the links that you can use, and we can discuss a couple of practical cases. So I'm waiting for this. So this is the scheme we have used, the process. And first of all, what we want is to give hospitality and again, give peace to these people, to these friends, in order for them to recover. Whilst we start the integration process, which the first bit of it is pretty much the health support because of COVID or because of other health-related issue, and then support them into the bureaucracy and regulation system. So in each country is different. Once you set up the process, there's obviously long intervals before everything is done and achieved. And therefore, you got to give some kind of normalcy to their life, which means basically the kids back to school and, starting the language courses that we do or in the local council, depending on the country. But basically, I hear that in each country, the state has organized all sorts of initiatives to support them. And then with particular regards to England, there are organizations like Vet Partners that you can, if you show the third slide, Paolo, please. In the third slide, you can see there's, we have this address in the UK, for example, where our Rob Williams is in charge of the office that will give complete assistance to our Ukrainian colleagues. So if they write to Rob Williams, we have a system where these friends are basically, we give them hospitality and then assistance throughout the process, the visa, all the necessary documents to be able to work in the UK. Or we do the same in Italy, or we can do the same with other associations, but talking about ours, in each country, Germany, Switzerland, Spain, France, we have local offices where we can help setting up, the hospitality and the rest of the process. For example, we have a colleague that will move from Ukraine to England, and she will have all the necessary help, not just to find a job, but also eventually to be prepared to have other opportunities like specialized internship, residency, whatever is necessary. So A, hospitality, B, career and possibility to rebuild a life. That's what we do. That's what we're trying to do.
Is there anything that we as vets specialists that do not belong to Vet Partners can do to help and support?
Yes, I believe all of us can do a lot more. What we can do is first give shelter, help them through the process, be able to give them the dignity of having a job and provide for themselves, which I think is the most important thing. A lot of these people are very proud people. So the ability to have a job and go to work, that's the first step. The second one, we can help, and this is what, for example, the President Uzava is asking, is give the opportunity to our colleagues to build a career, which means, continuous professional, training, the possibility to have access to university referral centers. So build expertise towards, further education and specialization. I believe, but, maybe it's a little bit too early, but I believe that by having the degree validated, equal opportunities, simply converted, they have theoretically the possibility of having access to further qualification. But obviously, it's early stages. They have temporary refugee status, which will last for a year. So it pretty much depends what happens this year, what happens in their country. So there are things yet to be discussed. But what I can say, from what I hear and by what I can read, is a huge humanitarian movement towards these people. Hopefully, this will also help other kind of refugees. So we do have to remember that we have Ukraine, but we have also other situations where, maybe we can help more, or we can, again, create systems and processes that you can use in different situations. So I think, albeit terrible, we are learning a lot on how much we can do, how much we can help other people in, having a share of what we're lucky to have as a community, particularly as vets, because vets, like to help. We are built to serve other people, and not just the pets, but also, families and people in general. So I think we have a lot to give. And this is just the beginning, I believe.
Absolutely. I could not agree more, even because we are in a very fortunate situation here at home with our families, with our pets. So compared to other situations, in particular right now in Ukraine, and it's very easy. It's very easy. And now I'm talking to who is on the other side of the camera. It's very easy to help. So you don't need to make like things like David is organizing, or you don't need to organize a lecture with specialists as we are doing. You just need to, for example, to donate a tiny bit, so what you can, and you don't even need to donate it to us. You can donate to any kind of initiative. Usava has many sites where you could donate. By the way, if you want to help us helping our friends and brothers and sisters in Ukraine, you can click on www.justgiving.com/vets for Ukraine. Just a little bit, because as I always say, a little bit helps. And the magic word of today is really hospitality. We are certainly well aware that not everyone can give hospitality to other people, but for example, a reality that I came into contact the past weekend is yes, we want to help them, but for example, think about people in need, or veterinarians in need in Ukraine that need to or have to flee or go away from their country, and they want to move to a different country like UK or Italy or Germany, Switzerland, Spain, whatever country, but they really don't have the money to travel through Europe, for example. And this is during a conversation, just, oh, well, I'm talking about to these friends or to this colleague, and how can I help you for your career and so on. And then I just thought, wait a moment, she's thinking to move somewhere else in Europe, and I said, but do you have the funds to do that? She has to move her family, her pets. So do you have the funds to do that? And the answer was, I'm really struggling. So just think about, if you know someone that lives in Ukraine, a vet, or anyone from Ukraine that is in need to move away from to leave their country, maybe just think to ask them whether they need a little bit money for the train, for the flight, for whatever, for the car, for the fuel, and this can also be a big help. So David, thank you so much. I really appreciate that you have joined us in this campaign. I think everyone can do, can be a part of it, and all together we make a huge, what we are doing is a huge effort, and I like to call it as a cultural movement now.
Yes.
So it's not only doing webinars by Vet for Vets, it's also something bigger, something that has more meaning behind it. I think I've spoken a lot, and Elisabetta is waiting. But before, Elisabetta, apologies for that. Before letting you start with your webinar about anesthesia in rabbits, I just would like to, I don't know if people remind Valeria Olinik. Valeria is the wife of Alexei Olinik, the colleague, the Ukrainian colleague that unfortunately died following a bombing while he was serving his country. And Valeria, when we saw her appeal, Valeria was still in Ukraine. Now Valeria managed to move and was in Dublin, or is in Dublin, and she has sent us nice images of like a march that has happened on the 8th, so yesterday, on Sunday. And Paolo, do you want to show us the images that Valeria Olinik has sent us to share with our friends, please?
Thank you, Daniela. Thank
yes.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, David. So these are the images. So Never Again is now 8 May 2022, yesterday in Dublin. And there was really a march against the war in Ukraine. And here on the right side, you can see a photo of Valeria with her daughter, and she has left here her email address in case you know that Valeria has not asked for donations. It's just I'm doing this spontaneously. You know that using PayPal, you can donate money to help people using the email address. So now I think is the time for Elisabetta to talk. So don't forget to share the link so that many people can follow Elisabetta webinar. And don't forget to donate if you like her webinar. And yes, I think I should now be silent and leave the word to Elisabetta.
Thank you very much, Daniela. And I would like to take the opportunity as well to thank you for inviting me, because it's an honor to be able to participate to this initiative of Vets for Ukraine 2022. So it gives me the opportunity to, sort of help or make my little part into this, opportunity in this initiative to help friends and colleagues. So thank you very much for having me, and thank you very much to everyone that took the time to be here tonight. And whatever you can donate, or as little as you can, or as much as you can, because every little helps.
So it's a pleasure to have you here. It's an honor for us. Thank you. Thank you, Elisabetta. Let's talk about rabbits now, because we are all very interested.